Hello, my name is Sammy Cook and this is my walkthrough video of my online unit. I am a high school math teacher and my personal teaching philosophy is that I am passionate about my work, I am willing to learn and reflect on my teaching, I am willing to show my colleagues and students how much I care about them, and I love to help students learn in the way that works best for them. The school's mission statement is to support each individual student's path to success by integrating innovative technology and empathetic, evidence-based instruction to personalize learning for our diverse students. My teaching philosophy lines up very well with the mission statement because I want to help students learn what ways of learning works best for them, which will greatly support them in their learning journey with us. I incorporate various technologies in my course to further support the learning of each student. The school's vision statement is to live our core values every day and strive for continuous improvement of our educational practices. I fully embody this vision statement because I practice my core values every day and am always striving to be a better teacher for my students. I want to set an example for my students of living what you teach. This unit is the beginning of the geometry section of the 9th grade Integrated Math 1 course. It focuses on basic geometry vocabulary, tools, and transformations to help students get started in understanding geometry concepts. We will hit these state standards in this unit. Know precise definitions of angle, circle, perpendicular line, parallel line, and line segment based on the undefined notions of point, line, distance along a line, and distance around a circular arc. Develop definitions of rotations, reflections, and translations in terms of angles, circles, perpendicular lines, parallel lines, and line segments. Describe the rotations and reflections that carry a given figure, rectangle, parallelogram, trapezoid, or regular polygon onto itself. Draw the transformation, rotation, reflection, or translation for a given geometric figure. Represent transformations in the plane and describe transformations as functions that take points in the plane as inputs and give other points as outputs. Compare transformations that preserve distance and angle to those that do not. And lastly, specify a sequence of transformations that will carry a figure onto another. The organizational structure of this unit is intended to be user-friendly for both students and teachers. All activities, assessments, and pages are listed in each module, as shown here. Making it easy for students and teachers to access any part of the unit at any given time. Each lesson is outlined in a similar way but includes different activities. Each lesson begins with an introduction with essential questions to get students thinking about the concepts they'll be covered and also lists the objectives for each lesson so students know what they'll be learning. Then each lesson goes into notes, as you can see here, followed by activities that include a discussion board, a collaboration, and an assignment. At the end of each lesson is a quiz where students can show their level of understanding over the objectives and standards covered in that lesson. Being able to embed videos and activities into the LMS was very useful for this unit. There were a few activities that I had to modify to fit into the LMS structure, which may hinder engagement. The collaborations are a bit clunky and harder to do and find. Having a link to the collaboration on a page would be very beneficial. Overall, I feel the LMS was able to meet my expectations, even though some things had to be modified. Students and teachers can easily navigate to anything that they would like. On the home page is where they can find the modules. We have announcements, there's the syllabus, grades. You can click on the modules to find each individual module. You can go to the pages to find each individual page. Students and teachers can go to assignments to find each individual assignment. They can go to the collaborations, which is where they'll have to go in order to do the collaborations. We also have the discussion boards and the quizzes. All of my activities and modules and everything in the modules all align with my teaching philosophy of having authentic activities and involving students in learning the way that works best for them. The first specific lesson material we are going to look at is in Lesson 1, Identifying Vocabulary Terms Collaboration. So when students click on that, they will be directed to this page that gives them specific instructions on how to get to the collaboration. So for our collaboration, they'll be identifying our vocabulary terms on a house. So we're going to head over to the collaborations board over here. And notice that it aligns with lesson 1, identifying vocabulary terms. So students will click on that and be directed to a Google Doc. Once in the Google Doc, the teacher and the students will be able to see which vocabulary terms we are going to be looking at right here. And then as they scroll down, they will see a picture of a house. And this is where we are going to have students identify each of those vocabulary terms on this house. The second specific lesson material we are going to look at is the Lesson 2 notes. So as you can see here, we've got Lesson 2, Geometry Transformations, and we've got Lesson 2 notes, and there are 3 different note sections here. So we're going to click on the Lesson 2 notes first. We'll let it load for a second. There we go. Notice that here we've got an overview of the notes. Okay, so it says for this lesson, there are 3 sections of notes. Make sure to watch all the videos and fill out the corresponding notes. So here we have a few graphics of different transformation rules to help out students. So we've got the translation transformation rules, rotation transformation rules, and, reflection, that should be reflection. So reflection transformation rules and rotation reflection rules. When students click next, they will be taken to the translation notes. So we have a Word document that is guided notes here for them. We also have a YouTube video that explains translations, explains the rules, and goes over examples. When we click next, it will go to the reflections notes. Once again, we have a Word document that they can download for guided notes, and then a video to watch that will go over the rules and explanations and definitions. Lastly, we have the rotation notes. Once again, we've got the Word document here that is the guided notes, and then an embedded YouTube video so they can just click right on play and let it play and fill out the guided notes. We have so many different options for students to learn because we know that not all students will learn in the same way. So giving students the options of what works for them is really going to help them and is part of my personal teaching philosophy. The third specific lesson material is the Lesson 2 quiz, so transformations and the rules quiz. So we will go there. All right, and notice that students have 2 attempts on this quiz. So after the first attempt, if they don't do as well as they wanted, they can go back, review any of the previous materials, activities, and be able to come back in and retake that quiz. They can also ask for feedback from the teacher. So on this quiz, there are different questions that are testing the students on the different standards in this lesson to gauge their mastery. There are 6 questions total. And as you can see, the first 3 students have to put in points after transforming them. And then the last 3 students have to identify the transformation, the description of the transformation, and the transformation rule. They can click on these drop-down menus to select their answers. And that is the last 3 questions on here. Okay, giving students 2 attempts is really helpful, and providing feedback is also really helpful for each student to help them in their learning. We want students to be able to master these standards, and giving them multiple attempts is a way of allowing them to do that. The fourth specific lesson material is the Rearranging Your Room Using Transformations discussion board. This discussion board was built upon the Lesson 2 introduction and the Lesson 3 introduction, connecting the ideas from previous lessons and showing students how the concepts they are learning are applicable to them. Students will upload pictures of their rooms they drew out on graph paper, and then upload another picture of their room after they've transformed 3 objects in their room. They will then be required to comment on 2 of their classmates' posts. The teacher will respond to each student and provide feedback. This assignment builds a collaborative learning environment and encourages students to seek out help and understanding from their peers and the teacher. It is also a great example of an authentic learning activity that engages students and helps them to master the concepts. The last specific lesson material is the summative assessment, the Transformations Project. This project is the final assessment for the unit. Students will draw a figure that has at least 10 points on the provided graphing paper. They will then follow the instructions for transforming their figure 3 different times. They will need to write down their new points after each transformation. Students will submit their graph paper and ordered pair sheet once they are done. They get 2 attempts on this assignment, and the teacher will provide feedback on each attempt. Having students create their own figure and then using the skills they have gained throughout the unit helps them to make the concepts more applicable to them. They are able to internalize their learning this way. Providing feedback and multiple attempts allows the teacher to encourage learning and reflection, which is a core value of my teaching philosophy. This assessment is broken up into parts. So here we have the submission. And then if students scroll down, there is the project rubric. So this is where they will be graded. Notice that each criteria is different. So here we have the original image, we have the reflected image, the rotated image, and the translated image. These are all broken down so that students know what parts, if they need to, go back and revise. When we hit next, it will take us to the specific transformation project instructions. So here is our process. It lists out exactly what students need to do for each transformation and tells them to put their coordinates on that ordered pair sheet. On the next page is the transformations project graph paper. Here students can download that graph paper, so then they have a working Word document to help them out. On the last page is the ordered pair sheet. Students will download this Word document and then they will fill out this. Let's see if it will download here. They will fill this out as they are working through their project. There we go. So we've got the original image points, the reflected image points, the rotated image points, and the translated image points. Notice that there are 10 points, but there are also extra points just in case students have more points than the 10. In closing, doing this assignment really reinforced my core values of being passionate about my work, my willingness to learn and reflect to aid in my learning and teaching, to always be willing to show my colleagues and students how much I care about them, and helping students to learn in the way that works best for them. Following the backwards design principles really encouraged me to think deeply about my core values and how I can prepare the best learning environment for each student in my course. Having to first identify the standards, then create the assessments, and then create the activities really challenged me to think of different ways to help my students understand the concepts in different ways.